world without sight or sound. Welcome to Success Leaves Clues. Every great success story leaves clues, not because successful people had it easy, their lives had problems also, but because they discovered habits and principles that helped them overcome challenges. Today, we are going to look at an incredible story of an incredible person. Her name is Helen Keller. Imagine being a young child who suddenly loses the ability to see the world around you. Imagine losing the ability to hear the voices of people you love. Imagine living in a world of darkness and silence. You don't realize what you're missing until it's gone. Many people would believe that the kind of life would be filled with limitations, but Helen Keller proved something different. She showed the world that our circumstances do not have to determine our future. Her life was not defined by what she could not do. Her life was defined by what she refused to give up on. The success habit we are going to discover today is refusing to accept limitations. Because Helen Keller's story teaches us that the greatest barriers are often not the obstacles around us, but the limits we allow ourselves to believe. When everything changed, Helen Keller was born June 27, 1880, in Alabama. She was healthy and a curious girl, but when Helen was only 19 months old, everything changed. A serious illness left her unable to see, unable to hear. In a moment, the world she knew disappeared. She could no longer hear her mother's voice. She could no longer see the faces of people who loved her. Without a way to communicate, Helen became frustrated and angry, just as anybody would. Her family loved her deeply, but they didn't know how to reach her. Many people around her wondered what kind of future was possible for a child facing such incredible challenges. But sometimes the beginning of a great story looks like the darkest moment. Helen Keller's journey was just beginning. The teacher who changed everything. Everything began to change when a young teacher named Anna Sullivan entered Helen Keller's life. Anna Sullivan understood struggle. She had faced her own challenges growing up, including serious vision problems and difficult circumstances. Because of her own experiences, Anna didn't see Helen as someone who was limited. She saw potential. She saw intelligence. She saw a child who simply needed someone willing to help her find her way. Anne began teaching Helen by spelling words in her hand. At first, Helen simply didn't understand. Day after day, Anna patiently repeated the lesson. She refused to quit. She believed there was a young child in a world just waiting inside Helen that could be unlocked. Sometimes success begins when someone believes in us before we are able to believe in ourselves. The breakthrough came in an old water pump. Anna Sullivan placed one of Helen's hands under the flowing water. With her other hand, Anna slowly spelled water. At first, Helen was confused, but then something incredible happened. Then she understood. Moments in her hand represented something real. The water flowing across her fingers had a name. For the first time, Helen understood that everything around her had a meaning. That single moment opened the door to an entirely new world. Helen rushed around asking Anna for names of everything she touched. The world that had once been silent and dark was now filled with possibilities. One moment of understanding changed the directions of the entire life. After discovering language, Helen Keller's desire to learn became unstoppable. She wanted to understand everything. She learned to read using Braille. She learned to write. She learned to communicate with others. She continued her education and eventually became one of the first deaf blind persons to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. Wow. At the time when many people doubted what someone with her challenges could achieve, Helen Keller continued moving forward. She didn't focus on things she could not do, she focused on what was possible. Her life came proof that determination, courage, and willingness to learn can overcome incredible obstacles. Helen Keller didn't remove every challenge from her path, she simply refused to allow those challenges to stop her. That is a lesson we can all take from her story. Our limitations do not have to define us. By the way, if you stay to the very end, I promise I'll give you a free gift. So stay to the very end, and I'll have it labeled below the video, free gift. And just click on the link, and it'll take you right to your free gift. And thank you again for joining me today. And I'd sure appreciate it if you'd click on the like and subscribe. That would really help my channel out and help me keep on bringing this type of information to you. Thank you again. A life inspired the world. Helen Keller became an author, a speaker, an advocate for millions around the world. Helen Keller didn't stop after graduating from college. She devoted the rest of her life to helping others. She became an author, a speaker, a champion for people living with disabilities. She traveled across the world encouraging people to believe that obstacles can be overcome. Helen's greatest achievement wasn't simply what she accomplished, it was the hope she gave millions who believe their circumstances hold them back forever. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Those words came from someone who faced challenges most of us can hardly imagine. She could have allowed her circumstances to define her. Instead, she chose courage. She chose hope. She chose purpose. Helen Keller reminds us that our greatest limitations are often the ones we accept, not the ones. Great success leaves clues. Helen Keller teaches us that determination is stronger than a disability. Hope is stronger than fear. Purpose is stronger than limitations. Her story reminds us that success is not measured by what happens to us. Success is measured by how we respond. Let us leave with you this one question. What limitations have you accepted that it's time to overcome? Maybe it's fear, maybe it's doubt, maybe it's believing you're too old, too inexperienced, or that it's simply too late. Helen Keller's life proves otherwise. Your future is not determined by your circumstances, it's determined by your decision to keep moving forward. What if your greatest obstacles became your greatest strength? Helen Keller lost both her sight and her hearing before she was 2 years old. Most people believed her future would be filled with limitations. Instead, she became one of history's greatest examples of courage, determination, and hope. In this episode of Success Leaves Clues, discover the success habit of refusing to accept limitations and learn why your circumstances never have to define your future. Again, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, and share my video. And again, thank you for joining me with another episode of Success Leaves Clues.